Hi, dreaming of flying in Norway and getting cool photos and videos?
And are you aware that there are new rules for the use of drones, which are very easy to break? And local rules of national parks make them even harder to follow.
And it is there where the most of Norwegian beauty is located, for which everyone is coming. In this video we will explain you how to use drone in Norway safely and legally. We live here and fly a lot ourselves for our channel, and we often see people breaking the rules and getting very heavy fines and even content removal.
So, can you fly in Norway? The quick answer seems to be yes, but there are important nuances, and there are many of them.
The rules in Norway are common with the European Union, and no additional registration is required for EU registered pilots. For pilots from other countries, you will need to register in Norway or any EU country. You must have a valid European certificate that matches your drone. For most hobby drone pilots, the A1, A3 subcategory certificate will fit, depending on their weight, and this table will help you to understand it better. If you decide to register in Norway, then this can be done only on the website flydrone.no, where you will find also the link to all applicable rules. Registration at flydrone.no will cost you 180 crowns per year. This is about 18 euros. Then you will be able to take a free online course for subcategory A1, A3 in English, and then pass the exam. The test is not difficult and logical. It consists of 40 questions. To pass successfully, you will need to answer correctly on 30 or more, and the number of attempts is not limited. And one more extremely important point, you must have valid civil liability insurance covering at least 9 million crowns, which is 900,000 euros.
And let's immediately dispel one big myth, that buying a small drone up to 250 grams, for example super popular Mavic Mini 2, you can fly outside the system. This is not true. There is camera installed on it, and for flights you need both registration and insurance. So let's go further. When you have registration, license and even insurance, what else needs to be done before the flight?
First, your drone must have your operator number on it.
Second, always follow the open subcategory rules. With the A1, A3 license you can fly no further than 120 meters from the nearest fixed point.
And here the question arises, as how to understand this? It's quite simple. You can take off even from the edge of a high cliff, but don't fly further than 120 meters from it. Under the new rules, the distance is measured from the nearest land. Third, the rule states that the pilot or observer must maintain eye contact with the drone at all times, so don't lose sight of the drone. And if you see the drone, you can fly even at night.
Now let's figure out the prohibitions. It is strictly forbidden to fly over the people, especially over the mass events. For violation of these prohibitions you may face a very large fine, but about it a little bit later. There are also no-flight zones. In Norway, as in all countries, flights are prohibited within a radius of 5 kilometers from the airport and in the airspace over prisons.
And of course, you should take into account local restrictions. This is the center of Oslo city and national parks. We advise you to check if drones are allowed in the area where you are. This can be done at safetofly.no. Just turn on the corresponding layers on the map. Take for example Uttervaller National Park, where drone flights are prohibited both in summer and in winter. Many species of birds live here, and Norwegians value and protect the nature. In general, study the map of Norway. It is striking that the huge and most beautiful part of the country is the national parks with no flight areas. These are also popular tourist destinations, so be careful, don't get a fine.
Now let's talk about the fines themselves.
It's a criminal offense to fly without insurance, according to the Civil Aviation Act. The punishment is the fine or even imprisonment for up to 1 year. Flying without registration also threatens you with a fine or imprisonment for up to 3 months.
And finally, more detail about the figures when we are talking about the fines. Let's take a look in their sizes in the directive of Norwegian Police. Flying the drone without visual contact, 8,000 crowns.
Flying in restricted areas, 12,000 crowns, and compensation of possible damage. Flying more than 120 meters from the ground will cost you 8,000 crowns. Flying over people without their permission, 10,000 crowns. And of course, flying over the mass events will result you in a fine of 12,000 crowns.
There are many rules, but we hope we managed to help you understand them.
Be careful. Plan each of your flight in advance, and then your trip won't be overshadowed by unpleasant moments in the form of fines. And of course, in addition to wonderful memories, you will also bring with you a unique souvenir from Norway, gorgeous drone footage, because it will be so nice to show them to friends who may have been to these places but didn't see them from this angle. And also, the meeting with the Northern Lights can become the cherry on the cake of your trip. In this video we give 5 practical tips on how and where to catch it. Trust us, meeting the Northern Lights will be remembered for the whole life. So subscribe to our channel and let's travel together. See you again!